Hi, friends. Just a few words about Passover. It's really one of the most important moments on the calendar, and not just for the Jewish people, but really for all of humanity. Because the story of the Exodus is not only the story of a nation leaving slavery, it's the story of a world being forced to recognize God. Up until this point in history, humanity was fundamentally one. Even the children of Israel were not yet a separate nation. They were part of the broader human story, what we would call BneiNoach, all bound by a universal moral code meant to build a just and God-centered civilization. And where was that civilization most developed? In Egypt. Egypt was, in many ways, the pinnacle of human achievement. They had advanced agriculture, medicine, engineering, architecture. Even papyrus, what we call paper, was invented there. They had complex governance and even egalitarianism, a social structure that gave women positions of power. It was brilliant, and it was broken. Because beneath that brilliance was something deeply corrupt. A society that could build wonders, but could also enslave an entire people. A culture that could advance knowledge, that could also erase the humanity of others. And that contradiction is not ancient history. It's the recurring story of civilization throughout history. Technological advancement without moral grounding, power without accountability, or ideology that erases the individual. These are all elements of our downfall. Egypt is not just a place, it's a pattern. And the Torah gives us a striking contrast for what happened in Egypt under Pharaoh. Because years earlier, Joseph had instituted a system of national servitude himself. But it was only an emergency measure during famine in order to preserve life. But Pharaoh took that same concept and weaponized it. Not to save life, but to exploit it. Not in scarcity, but at a time of plenty. At a time of abundance. And that's the turning point of corruption. When systems designed to serve humanity are turned into tools that consume it. So how does the redemption begin? Not with armies, not with miracles, but with moral courage. The Torah tells us that the story of the Exodus begins with the midwives who defied Pharaoh's command to kill the newborn boys. Before there is redemption, there are people who take a stand. Before there are miracles, there are those who refuse to cooperate with evil. And then God acts. But notice that he does two things, not just one. First, he rescues the Jewish people. He takes a nation from within another nation. That's Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 34. And it's very parallel to the idea of a birth. He creates something new in history, a people with a specific relationship to him. And that's why the Jewish people celebrate Passover as their holiday, as the birth of their nation. In fact, the name Passover, which is an English translation of Pesach, is related to the fact that God skipped over the homes where the Jews were on the night of the plague of the firstborn. That's why we celebrate Pesach. But that's only half the story of the Exodus, because the second purpose is stated again and again. so that Egypt will know that I am the Lord. Exodus chapter 7, verse 5. By this you shall know that I am the Lord, verse 17. And the Egyptians shall know that I am the Lord, Exodus chapter 14, verse 4. The Exodus is not only about Israel leaving Egypt. It's about God becoming unmistakably known in the world. Pesach is the moment. Passover is that moment where that ambiguity ends, when the world can no longer pretend that power is ultimate, or that morality is optional, or that God is absent. And this is why Passover still matters to those of us who are outside the Jewish community, because we're still living in advanced societies, we're still building, inventing, progressing, and we're still facing the same question that Egypt faced. Will we use our power to elevate humanity or to diminish humanity? Will we remember God or will we push him out of our consciousness? Passover is the birth of Israel as a nation, but it's also a gift to the whole world. It's a reminder that no matter how powerful a civilization becomes, it's still accountable. And that ultimately, history is not controlled by empires, but most importantly, by the one God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who stands above them. So may these days bring you and your loved ones clarity, strength, and deep renewal. May it reconnect us all to what's true, to what's good, and to the quiet but powerful awareness of God in our lives. And may we all merit to experience not only the memory of redemption, but its living reality in our time, in our homes, and in the world.